Hello and welcome to the Villager Missile Strike tutorial. As you can see, I'm just running around the redstone for the Villager rocket build. Ignore all of these other command blocks, these are for other projects. For now, we're just paying attention to these three starting command blocks. These three command blocks are actually from the Villager rocket, and you can repurpose them to make this Villager missile. So if you've made the Villager rocket already, great, you can repurpose these. If not, go ahead and make these. All you need is three command blocks that are activated. So, just for review, this command right here makes the smoke trail behind the villager. This command actually moves the villager. You want to add a negative sign over here so the villager travels downwards instead of upwards. And then lastly, this command creates the flame behind the villager. So these commands are pretty much the same, except they're turned on from the start, and also you have to add a negative sign to the teleport command so the villager goes downwards instead of upwards. Now let's move on to the new components of this build. As you can see, it's relatively simple. We only have 9 command blocks in total, including the 3 over there. So let's get into these commands. But first, what you're going to want to do is name a mob egg. In this case, I've chosen to name it Signal, but you can name it whatever you want. But you want an enemy or a mob with low health. In this case, I've chosen an Endermite. And this will act to signal the command blocks where you want the missile to go. Let's jump into the first command here. This command is just teleporting the Endermite to itself so it can't move. No need to give it slowness in this case. This command just makes it invisible, so you don't actually see anything. And this command makes it look like a flare, which I thought was kind of cool, so that's why it's included. It'll mark down where you've placed it down. And then let's jump into these 3 commands. So this one summons an Ender Crystal, and the Ender Crystal won't explode on its own. Actually, I'll talk about that later, but just for now, all you need to know is that you're going to summon an Ender Crystal. And this is what's actually going to make it explode. Of course, you don't actually need an Ender Crystal for the missile to explode. As you can see, we have a TNT minecart that'll get summoned, and it will act as the explosive as well. But if you want a big explosion, you want to add an Ender Crystal. If not, if you just want to go with a TNT minecart, that's fine. You actually can't see the TNT minecart at all, but you'll get a smaller explosion. Well, if you do use the Ender Crystal, you might see the Ender Crystal, so it might not be as hidden, but you'll also get a large explosion. And lastly, you might have been wondering what Dinnerbone was, but this is the villager. You want to make it Dinnerbone so it actually spawns upside down, so it actually looks like it's heading toward the ground. If you're on Java Edition, you can just adjust which way the villager is facing, or which way, its orientation, but unfortunately on Bedrock we can't really do that. We can only adjust which way the villager is looking. So in order to make it upside down, you have to name it Dinnerbone, and you have to refer to it as such. You want to make it spawn 50 blocks above where you place down your Signal, your Endermite, or whatever mob you choose. And then you actually have to use tick delay on these, because my first design that you saw actually used repeaters as a way to delay these commands from going off. And then also, my original command also used arrows to detonate the Ender Crystal, while in this case I'm using the TNT minecart. So, you want a 40 tick delay from when you place down the Signal to this activating. You don't have to do this, but what this does is that it makes sure there's a delay from when you place down the Signal to when the villager spawns. You have time to back away, you have time to get a good camera angle, but if you want, you can make the villager spawn instantly. But there's a 40 tick delay, that's about 2 seconds. And then for these ones, there's a 200 tick delay. Of course, if you have no tick delay on the first one, you can have a tick delay of 160, but this just gives it time to, for the villager to spawn, and it times it correctly so that when the villager gets close to the ground, it'll explode. Alright, so let's see this new one in action. I know you've probably seen the one I posted on Reddit, but let's see this one. Actually, let's just spawn a entirely new structure to test this out on over here. There you go, we have a new tower, and we're just going to place this down on top. So, as you can see, we have a nice flare effect, but that's it. There's the villager. You can make it go faster if you want, but for now it's just slow, and as you can see, pretty large explosion. If that was a TNT minecart, it wouldn't actually blow up as much because cobblestone has a decent explosive resistance, so you'd only see a small hole, but this, like, half the tower got blown up. But yeah, that's it. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll catch you in whatever I post next.